A prominent Democratic Party lobby group is targeting users of AOL's email service with ads demanding they sign a petition calling on Sarah Palin to retract dangerous rhetoric about the federal government stockpiling ammunition in preparation for civil unrest. The ad appears after users send an email, and here's a screenshot of that banner obtained by YouTube user Grindall61. The ad was paid for by the Democratic Governors Association, a lobbying organisation which represents governors affiliated with the Democratic Party and was instrumental in Bill Clinton's 1992 presidential victory. Many former DGA staff members have gone on to hold prominent positions within the government. The ad refers to a comment made by former Governor of Alaska Sarah Palin on her official Facebook page last month in reference to the Department of Homeland Security's mammoth purchase of some 2 billion rounds of ammunition over the course of the last year. If we're going to wet our proverbial pants over 0.3% in annual spending cuts when we're running up trillion-dollar annual deficits, then we're done, wrote Palin. Put a fork in us, we're finished. We're going to default eventually, and that's why the feds are stockpiling bullets in case of civil unrest. Left-leaning websites reacted to Palin's remarks by claiming she had regurgitated a debunked conspiracy theory. However, despite admitting that the DHS had purchased huge quantities of bullets, the source for the debunking was a single quote by a DHS official downplaying the whole issue. The February 14th Associated Press report, which featured the quote and an explanation that the bullets were bought in bulk to save money and were merely for training purposes only, has been widely derided as inaccurate. As former Marine Richard Mason told reporters from WHP-TV News, hollow point bullets, which make up the majority of the DHS purchases, are not used for training because they are more expensive than standard firing range rounds. Quote, "We never trained with hollow points. We didn't even see hollow points my entire 4.5 years in the Marine Corps," Mason said. Despite concerns about why the DHS is buying such huge quantities of bullets being perfectly legitimate, prompting Forbes magazine to call for a national conversation on the matter earlier this week, the DGA advertisement calls on Palin to renounce her extremist comments. Enough! Use the form on the right to stand with the Democratic Governors Association and demand that Sarah Palin apologise for her outrageous comments, states the ad. So the fact that a lobby group with direct ties to the Democratic Party is demanding Palin be treated like a thought criminal merely for drawing attention to the fact that the DHS is clearly preparing for civil unrest. And as you can see here, the federal agency purchased, quote, riot gear for that very purpose just before the presidential election, highlights how sensitive the establishment is about Americans learning about the arms buildup currently being overseen by the federal government. While Americans are seeing their Second Amendment rights targeted by the Obama administration, the feds are simultaneously buying up enough bullets to wage a 20-year-plus war. So no matter how many times the establishment media and Democratic Party mouthpieces attempt to dismiss concerns about this by erroneously labelling it as a conspiracy theory, the fact remains that this is a very real issue and a genuine concern to millions of Americans. People who have been denounced by the DHS in their own reports as potential terrorists if they're, quote, suspicious of centralised federal authority or, quote, reverent of individual liberty. So no matter how hard they try and spin this by denouncing Palin as a thought criminal merely for bringing it up, the fact remains that this DHS arms build-up remains a real issue and a genuine concern for Americans across the country. This is Paul Joseph Watson reporting for Infowars.com.